department even has this information on, or even if the
new technology that helps eliminate power outages or isolate power outages.
Now at 10, Consumers Energy making infrastructure improvements, the work they're doing to fix potential problems before they happen.
And a beautiful day in West Michigan. Great sunsets along the lakeshore. We'll have even better sunsets tomorrow and Monday night with warmer weather on the way.
It's for the lives that people lay down, again, so we have the freedom to do what we want to do.
And it's Memorial Weekend, an organization making sure the memories of service members across the country are honored. We'll have a look at their special mission.
From the station with the most local news in our West Michigan, Fox 17 News at 10 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jamie Sherrod. First at 10, Consumers Energy is being proactive during severe storm season. Fox 17 first showed you a few weeks ago the extensive work they do to find potential problems. Now we're learning more about what they're doing to fix them. Fox 17's Matt Whitkos is here with more on how the power company is making sure your lights stay on. Matt?
Yeah, Jamie, what's going on is that they're investing $100 million to improve its infrastructure. Consumers Energy saw several similar issues throughout the state. They say the time to take care of them is now before it's too late. We're learning more about the problems Consumers Energy found during its routine checkup of our power grid.
We use the helicopter to inspect about 4,400 miles, and then with additional days, additional resources, we'll look at other problem areas, revisit those areas using that helicopter.
Josh Pachork is with Consumers Energy. He says many of the problems they caught so far are leaning poles and broken equipment.
What we're doing with this $100 million investment in our overall electric reliability plan is building a more reliable and a more resilient power grid in the face of this more severe weather.
Michigan is no stranger to severe storms during this time of year, but Pachork says it has been windy this year.
We've already noticed a number of significant wind events in 2022 as compared to 2021. And really what we're seeing is as weather is getting more severe over the past few years, it's causing more havoc, causing more problems on our power grid.
He says this $100 million is going to address their high voltage distribution system.
We're rebuilding several miles of HVD lines. We're replacing about 750 HVD poles. We're upgrading technology. We're rehabbing other parts of the line.
This investment is part of a bigger one. Pachork says Consumers Energy plans to spend $5.4 billion on its electric reliability plan.
And it's going to be really focused on making improvements across the entire power grid. It's going to be focused on tree trimming, as those are the #1 causes of power outages in Michigan. It's going to be investing in new technology that helps eliminate power outages or isolate power outages.
Time without power is incredibly frustrating. Consumers Energy says they plan to reduce that time for your lights to be back on by 15% from now to 2025. In the newsroom, I'm Matt Whitkos, Fox 17 News.
Well, meteorologist Reese Cole joins us now with the first check of that forecast. And Reese, today was a nice day, but tomorrow will be even better.
Yeah, this was an appetizer for the rest of our weekend. We were in the 70s today. We're looking at 80s tomorrow and on Monday. Right now over Grand Rapids, we're all dry. We did see a few passing clouds this afternoon. We were mostly sunny early, turned partly cloudy. Areas even mostly cloudy this evening, but it is really nice out there with temperatures sitting in the upper 60s right now. Notice the cloud cover overhead. They moved through this afternoon, even a few spotty showers, especially north of Grand Rapids. I heard about some light rain in Ludington as well as up near Manistee, and then that moved on through Big Rapids and down towards Stanton and Montcalm County as well. Clouds are lagging behind the moisture. We'll see those clear out here in the next few hours, and tomorrow is going to be mostly sunny again. High temperatures today, 73 Grand Rapids. Notice the 60s. We're only along the lakeshore. Everywhere else in the low to mid 70s. A really nice day here, but again, tomorrow looking at 80s. Right now, temperatures still at 66 at the Grand Rapids Airport. 61 in Ludington, 61 in Grand Junction as well, 58 in South Haven along the lakeshore, but still 60s as you head inland. A really quiet night for us here, and with the cloud cover, it's going to stay fairly mild. Springboard those temperatures into the 80s tomorrow. We'll have a south wind return tomorrow and on Monday as well. It'll be quite breezy along the lakeshore as well. We'll have wind gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour both days. High swim risks in effect along the lakeshore from Muskegon down to about South Haven, where the wind's out of the south. Benton Harbor won't have as bad of waves, but we'll still see waves upwards of 3 to 5 feet on most pier areas. So definitely a couple of days to enjoy with temperatures in the 80s, even into the upper 80s, and lots of sunshine. But I'll break down the cool down ahead in the next work week and our next rain chance as well.
All right, thank you, Reese. Well, Memorial Day weekend is here, and an organization that honors fallen service members nationwide is in Metro Detroit with a traveling exhibit. Wreaths Across America partners with trucking companies to deliver wreaths to grave sites of those who've made the ultimate sacrifice. Reporter Darren Cunningham from our sister station spoke with a local trucking company that donates miles and manpower to the cause.
Remember, honor, teach. That's the mission statement for Wreaths Across America, honoring fallen veterans. A trucking company right here in Taylor is putting that into action. Every December, hundreds upon hundreds of loads of wreaths are moved across the country for free. Load 1 Transportation and Logistics in Taylor moves part of that load, picking them up in the state of Maine, delivering them to military cemeteries to be placed on the graves of fallen service members.
It's a very special and moving thing to watch Arlington transformed within hours of having no wreaths to being blanketed, to see the sea of volunteers, and then it's incredibly moving, especially for the families that have lost someone and given the ultimate sacrifice like that.
John Elliott, CEO of Load 1, says the company's donated transportation, time, and fuel to Wreaths Across America for nearly 15 years now.
Once one of our drivers is part of this, they always want to do it every year.
Elliott says it hits home for him because he's a veteran himself, just like retired Load 1 employee and Marine David Gadigan.
Monday will be our most expensive holiday, okay? Not in terms of price of food, of gas, of travel, any of that. It's for the lives that people lay down, again, so we have the freedom to do what we want to do.
And that's what Wreaths Across America's mobile education exhibit seeks to inform the public about.
We have the absolute best job. We get to hang out with veterans every day.
Stephen Brand, driver ambassador for Wreaths Across America, runs the interactive exhibit, where visitors can watch an 8.5-minute video and learn about the organization's mission. Vietnam veterans can receive a welcome home pinning and sign the board. He says so far, nearly 2.5 million wreaths have been hauled since 1992.
They come off of here pretty inspired to get involved with the organization, either by sponsoring a wreath or volunteering with us.
Well, Russian troops are making small territorial gains in eastern Ukraine as officials in Kiev call for more international support. New satellite images show Russian military activity near the cities of Liman and Popasna. Russian troops recently seized control of Liman, and these images show the destruction left in the wake of that advance, much of it due to artillery units that are shelling civilian areas. Liman is considered to be a key strategic city as Russian troops control more of the Donbas region. Ukrainians continue to evacuate from many hard-hit areas, but intense fighting makes those evacuations difficult. The United Nations says more than 4,000 civilians have been killed so far since the war began, and that number is ticking higher each day. With much of the international attention on other stories, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging the media to stay in Ukraine and continue reporting. In a video message to students at Stanford University, he had this to say about Ukrainian efforts to survive amid the invasion.
Ukraine is a country that has destroyed the myth of the extraordinary power of the Russian army, an army that could conquer anyone it wants in a few days. But Ukraine is a country where the Russian army continues to wage a war it doesn't want to end. Now Russia is trying to occupy the whole country.
Well, just this morning, air raid sirens were sounding across the capital city. A reminder that every Ukrainian city remains in Russian sights. Well, still ahead at 10, community members and congressional representatives in Detroit holding a vigil to honor the victims of the Uvalde shooting and calling for action against gun violence.
Myself, I want more than prayers. I know prayers can change the world, but right now we also need action.
What they say they want to see happen and when, coming up. Well, Delta Airlines says it's cutting back on the number of flights it will offer right before the summer travel season. The reason for the decision still ahead. Crews were at the scene of a house fire in Kentwood this afternoon. According to Kent County Dispatch, it broke out at a home on Kalamazoo Avenue Southeast between Genshin Drive and Christie Avenue. Crews from Kentwood and Cutlerville responded to the scene. According to dispatchers, everyone inside the home got out safely. We'll have additional information once we learn more. The Mecosta County Sheriff's Office is investigating the murder of 3 young children and a woman. On Friday around 2:30 p.m., deputies were called to a home in Austin Township after reports of a man with a gun. The 4 were found dead at the scene from apparent gunshot wounds. A man was also found with a gunshot wound to the head. He's been taken to the hospital in Grand Rapids. The Sheriff's Office says there's no current threat to the public. And in a press release, the Morley-Stanwood School superintendent said their community is mourning the loss of the victims, one of whom was a student at their elementary school. A vigil for all of the victims will be held on Monday at 7 p.m. at the school's football field. We'll keep you updated on this story as we get more information. With the recent incidents of gun violence across the country, as well as here in Michigan, the Detroit community is standing and remembering the students and teachers killed. Residents and their community leaders gathered for a vigil on Friday. Reporter Nana Sentuo-Bansu from our sister station has more from Southwest Detroit.
People of all ages in Southwest Detroit were joined by Congresswoman Debbie Dingell and Rashida Tlaib to remember the 21 lives lost in Uvalde, Texas.
Even though they're miles away, we want to send them the biggest hug.
Community activist and organizer Cindy Garcia has had enough.
We are tired of our kids having to go to school, and they're always worried of what's going to happen. Is what happened in Oxford, is what happened in Texas going to happen to them?
The community stood together holding pictures of the victims while their names were read.
Miranda Mathis, Eva Mireles, Alicia Ramirez.
In this 9-year-old's hands is a picture of one of the students killed that's only about a year older than she is.
It's really sad to see the kids dying all over. They need to stop killing people, and it makes me sad.
Makes her sad and also worried. Congresswoman Dingell and Tlaib say they are fighting for common sense gun laws in Washington.
Me, myself, I want more than prayers. I know prayers can change the world, but right now we also need action.
Let's think about this in a way that keeps these kids safe. The people who shouldn't have guns can't get to them. The people that own guns lock them up safely so people who shouldn't be able to get to them do.
Dingell says right now at the Capitol there are disagreements on gun legislation, but she is working with her colleagues to find a solution.
I'm going to promise her I'm going to do everything I can to make her safe.
And all the other children in the community.
Ave Maria.
3. Fly high, children, fly high.
The real estate market seems to be cooling down a bit as sales drop over the last month. The reasons industry experts are giving and what they say is needed to fix it. Coming up.
Some of the warmest air of the season building into West Michigan. We're looking at upper 80s, maybe even a chance at 90 degrees in parts of Michigan before a cool down out west moves into West Michigan as well. A really nice day in West Michigan today. Going to be the same thing tomorrow and even on Monday. Rest of Memorial Day weekend trending in the warmer direction and the sunnier direction as well. We're sitting partly and mostly cloudy right now across West Michigan. Temperatures in the 60s for us here across the area. Dew points in the 50s means the air is fairly dry and comfortable. It's going to be the case tomorrow, but on Monday and Tuesday, a lot of humidity is going to start to build back in. Right now, winds very calm across West Michigan. It was a really nice day. Winds didn't get above 5 to 10 miles per hour this afternoon, but tomorrow that's going to begin to change. We'll see winds out of the south to southwest in some areas tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon. upwards of 20 miles per hour, especially along the lakeshore. We're going to have a high swim risk on Lake Michigan for all day and all areas on Lake Michigan. Wave heights upwards of 3 to 5 feet. Gusts upwards of 25 miles per hour. That's on Sunday. On Monday, we're going to see more of the same, moderate to high swim risk for all of Lake Michigan, as well as wind gusts upwards of 25 to even 30 miles per hour. Here's a look at current temperatures across the region, and a little bit cooler along the lakeshore in the low 60s, mid 60s, everywhere else inland in Grand Rapids at 66 degrees. But notice the 70s and 80s out west in Nebraska, Iowa, even down towards Kansas and Oklahoma. We're going to start to see more and more heat build in. We were fairly mild today. Tomorrow, though, going to be very warm. And then Monday and Tuesday, borderline hot building in. So right now, we had a few showers pass over our area, but we're just seeing the cloud cover sit over West Michigan. We're going to see the clearing out in Wisconsin and Iowa build in once again behind this. We'll have another day of clear conditions, and then we're going to see another overnight of more cloud cover like we're seeing tonight. You can see that most of the moisture is well off to the east now, and we're going to start to see those clouds break up just after midnight and into tomorrow morning. So here's the future track, and you can see the clouds are pretty much gone by the time we get to about 4 or 5 a.m. We'll be mostly sunny again tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a really nice day here in West Michigan. And then going into Sunday night, more clouds build in. No moisture with this, thankfully. We're not going to be seeing any precipitation like we had seen this evening. But again, cloud cover continuing to move through the area. And then going into Monday afternoon, more mostly sunny conditions. It's going to be a really nice day, but notice the breezy south to southwest wind. That again, contributing to some warmer air filtering in our area. Lows tonight going to be in the 50s, near 60 degrees for most of us, 59 in Grand Rapids, 56 up in Big Rapids, where there's a little bit more cloud clearing and more opportunity for those temperatures to drop. Tomorrow, temperatures for most of us going to be in the low to even middle 80s, even along the lakeshore. The wind's going to be almost due southerly, so there's not going to be a major lake breeze tomorrow outside of Muskegon and up near Leadington and Manistee, where the wind out of the south will give them a little bit more of that Lake Michigan breeze. Mostly sunny tomorrow, and then as we go into Monday, more mostly sunny conditions. Going to be breezy both days. Notice the overnight lows in the upper 60s. It's going to be a really mild stretch until we get to Tuesday afternoon. Then the cold front arrives, going to bring widespread showers. That'll last with more rain chances through not only Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday as well. Notice the cooler temperature difference, too, from the 80s down into the 70s. Now, going forward, we're in the low to mid 70s through next weekend, and that looks to be the trend as average highs at this time of year and into into June in the upper 70s, near 80 degrees. We're looking to be cooler than average, which means we'll be seeing anywhere from low to mid 70s the rest of your first full week of June after our 7-day forecast. So a really nice stretch to end this holiday weekend, Jamie.
All righty. Thank you, Reese. Well, there's more need for new homes because of an inventory shortage and current high prices. That's according to a real estate industry expert from the Corcoran Group, who says the market is desperate for new houses to buy. And more homes below $400,000 are also needed. Census Bureau data shows new home sales plunging in April from March by more than 16%. And they're down about 27% from a year ago. They say more inventory would take pressure off the market, even for renters. And renters in major cities are facing sticker shock over high rent prices in popular markets. Well, Delta Airlines summer plans may mess up your summer plans. Delta says it's going to make strategic cuts to some flights. Those flights come in peak summer season. The airline will trim 100 flights out of its schedule from July 1st through August 7th. The Atlanta-based carrier says it's anticipating problems with factors such as weather, air traffic control, vendor staffing, and increased COVID cases that could cause unscheduled absences. The changes come as summer demand increases despite inflation prices. The TSA says 2.1 travelers will pass through checkpoints daily. Well, as the community in Uvalde, Texas continues its struggle dealing with the tragic school shooting, faith leaders are trying to help residents find peace.
We're just here. We're just here for the people, just to be here, someone to lean on, somebody to cry with, somebody to just talk with.
Trying to help with the healing coming up. Anger Anger and frustration over a slow police response in Uvalde, Texas, is impacting a community already struggling with the reality of the lives lost. Chris Stewart spoke with a Uvalde faith leader who is trying to help his community find peace while dealing with the revelations of what happened at that school.
An image can communicate with a power stronger than words. Like these empty chairs placed in memory outside of a daycare in Uvalde, one of the growing memorials that have become focal points for reflection here.
This is the memorial that's grown over the past couple of days in the town square. It's only about a mile away from Robb Elementary. And we were here when these crosses were first brought in. There are so many flowers and candles and messages that are written on them, showing how unique each person lost in this shooting was.
We're just here. We're just here for the people, just to be here, someone to lean on, somebody to cry with, somebody to just talk with.
Daniel Myers, a Uvalde pastor, has come to be a source of comfort.
Our world is hurting. Our world is hurting.
But even he's struggling with what we now know about how police responded to the shooting.
My heart aches. And then as we get more revelation as to what happened at the school, that right there, I just don't understand.
While we have met many who have come to Uvalde from hours and states away, Daniel has lived here for a decade.
Being here from Uvalde, this is a small town, 16,000. Somehow, some way, everybody is connected in this.
This memorial will eventually no longer be here. The group who put in these crosses says their plan is to give them to the families of the victims so they can have the messages written on them. This Sunday, Daniel will stand before his congregation for the first time since the shooting. He says his message will be about helping people reflect on what's happened in their small town and what it will take to move forward.
We need people that will come together. I mean, this thing about going across the aisle back and forth, do something. God forbid that this happens again.
In Uvalde, Texas, I'm Chris Stewart reporting.
We'll have a final check of that forecast after the break. Well, Reese Cole is back now with a final look at that forecast. And Reese, it seems like we always warm up right on time.
Yeah, this is perfect timing. You can't time it any better to have the warmest weather on the Memorial Day weekend. And not only that, Memorial Day itself. Temperatures tomorrow going to be in the low 80s. On Monday, we're looking at the upper 80s. Mostly sunny skies both days. Overnight clouds Sunday night into Monday, but no showers expected. And then going into Tuesday, more sunshine early. Temperatures nearing that 90-degree mark as well. I wouldn't be surprised if near I-94 places do hit that 90-degree mark before some showers and storms move in ahead of a cold front. And then we're going to be seeing scattered showers Wednesday, maybe even into Thursday as well. Notice the cool down though from the upper 80s to the lower 70s. Going to be a cooling trend going into Wednesday through Saturday as well.
All righty. Thank you, Reese. And thank you for joining us for Fox 17 News at 10. Don't go anywhere. Quick Connect is next.
You're watching Fox 17 News Quick Connect.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Max Goldwasser. Tonight on Quick Connect, we are looking back at some of our top stories of the week here on Fox 17, starting with a couple from Gaylord, set to get married the day after a tornado tore through parts of their town. Our Jamie Sherrod has that story for us tonight.
The devastation in their hometown was heartbreaking. They had no idea if the church they planned to get married in was even standing. But instead of changing the date, they changed their perspective. High school sweethearts Kirsten and Tristan always knew they'd get married at Gaylord First United Methodist Church. It was their dream. But just a day before their planned wedding, a tornado wreaked havoc on the place they call home.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, like we said, tragic just because, like, we knew people who had lost their homes or businesses.
Because we had seen pictures, but the pictures do not do justice.
They were about 15 minutes away from where the tornado hit, feeling the strong winds.
A tree had fell in our driveway when people are trying to get out. So my best man and I booked it out Friday, not even with question of what could have happened to us. We just booked out there and moved this tree out of the way so we could keep going with everything. And
that's right. Despite the devastation, the two were still determined to get married.
I started that Saturday morning at about 6:30 with text messages. Is the wedding still happening? We are still having this wedding, even if we don't have power.
And they didn't. It was nothing like they had planned or envisioned.
We didn't expect the church not to have power. We didn't expect a tornado to go through Gaylord. And
yeah,
it is what it is.
In fact, they say it turned out better than they imagined. Improvising with speakers and candles, dancing without a care in the world.
Once it got dark, the lights up in the tent, just breathtaking way. That's pretty much what the talk of the night was, just despite everything, just how beautiful everything was.
A fairy tale following a tragedy and a night the two newlyweds will never forget.
I would say memorable.
Very, very memorable. Just everything was just couldn't have been any more perfect. Just goes to show, never give up on anything. Just keep on going with it and it'll all work out.
The two newlyweds say thankfully everyone they knew survived that devastating tornado. They plan to celebrate their honeymoon in Myrtle Beach. Reporting in the newsroom, Jamie Sherrod, Fox 17 News.
There's a new movement going on. If you're not a fan of yard work, then this movement might be the one for you. It urges people to help save the bees and avoid mowing their lawn in the spring. It's called No Mow May, fittingly, and our Candace Monticelli found one homeowner who's trying it out.
Long grass, weeds, and native flowers is the name of the game for No Mow May. According to Bee City USA, spring is a crucial time for our pollinators as they start to come alive and need extra nutrients. Many of our urban environments offer fewer floral resources, but your unmanicured lawns can help.
Bees need both native flowers that bloom consistently throughout the year. They need protected natural nesting sites and habitat that's free from pesticides.
Lawns make up 40 million acres of our landscape as our largest single irrigated crop, which collectively can make the No Mow May movement a huge benefit to help save our pollinators.
Up to 40% of pollinator species on Earth may be at risk of extinction in the coming years as a result of habitat loss, pesticide use, and climate change.
The No Mow May movement was introduced in the U.S. 2 years ago, and some West Michigan homeowners tried it out this year while resisting the urge to mow.
It's been quite difficult, just to see the other nice yards during this time of year. But it's an urge that I've been fighting.
Even despite the challenges, people like Gene think it could be worth it.
I think collectively, if everyone was on board, I think it's a noble thing to do. If there's a concerted effort in the neighborhood, I think it draws some benefits.
Sometimes it takes going to your city officials to make changes, allowing to invite wildlife and plants back into your neighborhood.
Communities can take a chance to kind of reconsider lawn ordinances or weed ordinances in their town. It may be that they're so restrictive it prevents people from planting native plants and native habitat.
Not only does the additional food benefit our pollinators, but we also save time and money while reducing air and noise pollution. In Grand Rapids, I'm Candace Monticelli, Fox 17 News.
You're watching Fox 17 News Quick Connect.
And with it being tick season right now, you might be curious, what should you do if you come across one? Our Lauren Edwards has the answer.
So when we talk about tick bite prevention for humans, we're mostly talking about the black-legged or deer tick, not the dog tick, which are large and very obvious to see.
The deer tick is the one we should be concerned about, says pediatric infectious disease expert Dr. Rosemary Olivero. They're so small, she says, they're the size of a poppy seed, which makes them hard to spot.
Deer ticks are very passive. They like to live on these nice long grasses. They're generally like to live there, and they actually don't jump, they don't fly, and so they don't just come buzzing out of the air and then latching onto you.
And they love coming out this time of year.
Now to about June, July, that's when most of the nymphal black-legged ticks are, and nymphal black-legged ticks are a lot smaller than the adult ticks. And so they are more likely to stay on a person and go unnoticed.
Thus, they can stick to people longer, says entomologist Emily Din. If this happens, health officials say get them off of you as quickly as possible, even if you have to use tweezers.
Do remove the tick if you find it on your body, and you do want to remove it, because the faster you can remove it, then the less likely that tick can transmit Lyme disease to you.
Lyme disease can transmit within 48 hours, so it's suggested to do a check every day to help lessen your chances. Look for the telltale bullseye and contact your doctor right away if you are concerned. They have antibiotics to help prevent the onset of Lyme disease. So health officials recommend when you're outside, dress accordingly.
So that means long pants, long sleeves if you're doing a lot of yard work. If your children are going to be playing in these long grassy areas that are next to the woods or in the woods, having long sleeves on can be really, really helpful.
And to keep the yards around your house tidy.
Yes, so to help reduce the ticks around your property, I definitely recommend getting rid of things like brush piles and leaf piles. That has been the relatively consistent variable that can contribute to ticks around a home that I can tell from the science.
That was our Lauren Edwards reporting. There's also repellent you can use, but if you do that, just read the labels to make sure that it says that it does in fact protect against ticks. There's also an app that people can download to see what kind of bug was on them in the first place, or you can just reach out directly to the MDHHS for consultation.
Watching Fox 17 News Quick Connect.
As the school year winds down and students prepare for summer break, there's one woman who will miss heading to the classroom every single day, and she's not even a teacher. Our Janice Allen introduces us to our Pay It Forward Person of the Month, brought to you by Lake Michigan Credit Union.
We're really cooking now.
In Robin Anderson's second grade classroom at Cherry Creek Elementary, there's another important person helping to shape the young minds here.
She's just a part of our room. I refer to it as our classroom because she's such a big piece of it.
Okay, I'm going to put fruit and then I'm going to put juice next to it.
Donna Miller is retired after 30 years of working payroll at GRPS. Volunteering has become a new full-time job.
Sometimes she'll take a vacation, but it's rare.
I do have more for you.
5 days a week, coming in the morning and often staying later than most teachers. Donna is making a difference.
I love it. Love the kids. So this has to go back.
Reading with the kids, grading papers, and helping out with special projects.
Splish splash. It is so much fun.
She'll do anything that she's never really told me, no, I won't do that. She will even help other teachers in the other classes if they need help.
Donna, who comes from a family of teachers, knows how these simple things can add up.
This here, and you have the same thing right there.
I know how much it takes for a teacher nowadays. You just don't think of the little things that need to be done every single day that a volunteer could do.
And then you're going to put this on your second sentence.
Robin is grateful for the help.
She's just so kind and thoughtful and is, always there.
Splish, splash, splish. Okay.
The kids thankful to have an extra adult to turn to.
Anywhere we go, we see these kids and they hug you and they yell at you across the grocery store, they see you at the park.
All the hours, all the years, doing this without expecting anything in return.
Every year I think, okay, this is it, and then every August I'm back.
So you wrote sentences, so we have to make them poems, okay?
Sometimes my husband thinks I'm crazy, sometimes I come home so exhausted, but it's well worth it in the end.
And as the school year wraps up and another class prepares to say goodbye, it's a safe bet Donna is already looking forward to coming back.
If I can go home at the end of the day and think, oh, I made a difference, or I helped somebody, or it made that subject click, that's all I ask for.
She pushes them to be better students, to be better human beings, and I just think, I want her to know how thankful we are to have her in our lives.
In Lowell, Janice Allen, Fox 17 News.
And when the pandemic began, Donna was still very busy helping out. She was volunteering to drop off packets of work and other items to students, doing it right to their doorstep. So as our winner, Donna is receiving a $550 prize. Congratulations. And if you know someone who should be featured next, head to the Pay It Forward section on fox17online.com and tell us all about them. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Quick Connect. I'm Max Goldwasser. Stick around. The news at 11 is next.